Welcome back to the Real Estate 401k show, where I'm your host, Mike Weinstein, alongside Justin Frederick and Ryan Gerdes. So one of the questions, Ryan, we've been getting and paraphrased in many ways by our sellers and people that we talk to about real estate, because we're always, one of our favorite topics is real estate, is homes seem to be selling, but how come home prices don't seem to be going up? And at any given time in our market right now in the MLS, we typically have between 6,000 to 6,500 homes under the pending status, so under contract in the MLS. And I know recently we were talking to, when I say we, I mean you, was talking to a seller who kind of came back after a couple months and go, hey, prices have been selling. How come my home hasn't gone up in value?
Mm-hmm. And that's probably the biggest misconception is that it's happening immediately, right? Because it doesn't. There's definitely some buildup. And so I want to take you back to a little bit of, microeconomics, or your first year of economics back in college. They taught us about elasticity, okay? So that has to do with every single time either a buyer enters the market and creates more demand, or a property enters the market and creates more supply, what does that do to the market overall, right? So the idea is that every single time that demand increases, that prices should go up, assuming that supply stays the same. Or every single time that a home enters the market, the prices are going to go down so long as demand stays the same. Now, you talk about that, and there's all kinds of different key components and all kinds of different downward and upward pressures. Like I'd say our biggest pressure as it pertains to the real estate market is interest rates. Mm-hmm. So we may see homes selling like crazy, but prices going down because we're seeing rising interest rates. So there's a lot more to it than just, hey, there's a ton of homes selling, why the hell aren't the prices going up? And so that's just one example as to what those types of pressures are. And so not only that, there is a little bit of an incubation period. Think about, like, when we're talking about elasticity, think of a rubber band, right? So as it pulls, it is going to snap back over a long enough period of time. What that period of time is going to depend on all the different pressures, all the different markets. Being that interest rates are one of them, we've seen so much volatility over the past couple of years on it. There's no way of telling what that timeline is going to look like until it stayed the same for at least a few years. And so we're not going to know when prices are going to skyrocket back up, or if they're just going to trickle back up, or what's going to happen with them, because it is going to be relative to the response of that. Unemployment plays a part in it, of overall supply. So if like we're in Maricopa County, we're handing out building permits like crazy. It's a hell of a lot easier to get a building permit here than it is in places like California. So there's going to be
everything's easier here.
Well, they're just our next door neighbors and probably the most polar opposites to what we are. So it's just kind of easy to have that correlation. But moral of the story is, it is easy for us to get supply here. We don't have a huge ocean right next door landlocking us. We can grow in 360 degrees down around this city. And so we have those types of things that are going to keep prices at bay, because you can still come here and live in a very, very affordable home. You might have to drive to qualify, because that's just the way that it is here, but it's still very possible, and to have a good paying job. And then taxes are a part of it. Politics are obviously a part of it. All these other different downward or upward pressures that is going to affect the value versus the volume, or how many units are being sold. So those are all those different reasons why, on a quick cliff note, as to why you may or may not see prices increase, even though homes are selling at an incredible rate.
Well, if you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, and even if you are working with another real estate professional, we hope and we trust that they're having these types of conversations with you, because at the end of the day, it's about making the right choice and building wealth in real estate and we would love to have that conversation with you. All you got to do, let's just go with supply. Text the word supply to 623 AZ Recon. That's supply to 623 AZ Recon. Justin, let me paint the picture for you. You and I both, same day. It'll never happen. Same day, we get a letter in the mail from our alma mater saying, hey, we just discovered that you're 3 units shy of earning that diploma that you have. And you got to take an economics class. And so you and I go, all right, we sign up for Paradise Valley Community College, and we walk in day one, and Ryan Gerdes is our professor. What does that look like?
Yes. I'm failing you both, no matter what.
Did you bring the whiskey?
All right. So I think, Ryan really, provided a lot of great insight there. I think one of the things I wanted to clarify with you, and I want you to talk about, borrowing power and how interest rates increase borrowing power, because I think for me, that was my biggest takeaway from Ryan's, lecture is, yes, prices or homes are selling, but we're not necessarily seeing home prices necessarily go up. And I think it's because interest rates are still going up, not by a lot, but they're still going up. And every time it goes up by 1/8 of a point or 1/4 of a percent or whatever the case is, that reduces a buyer's borrowing power. And so sometimes then that just leaves us where we're at, even Steven, and home prices are where they're at. I think it would be different, my personal opinion, if we woke up tomorrow and interest rates were 5.5%.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you just said everything that I was supposed to say.
All right, moving right along to you, Ryan.
But yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was one of the biggest differences between the 3% interest rates and where we are today. Just buying power is significantly different today compared to what it was 3 years ago. And your average person 3 years ago would probably qualify for probably $750,000, $800,000 house. They weren't pushing things to the max like they are today. People are pushing things to the max today to try to just get into what they feel like they need as a house. And so when we're maxing them out, we can't push it any further to get into the homes that they're looking to get in. So they're limited. What they're able to qualify for is limited. And absolutely, one of our biggest issues right now with pre-qualifying people is the volatility of the market. 3 weeks ago, we were having good rates here and there. Actually, we had probably a 2-week span where we had some good rates. So people were actually able to qualify for more. And if they were able to get under contract on that weekend, wonderful, great. You were able to qualify for more. Well, if we go to today from 3 weeks ago, most of those people that we pre-qualified 3 weeks ago, they might even be $40,000, $50,000 less than what they qualified for 3 weeks ago. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's what happens when you're in a volatile market. We're talking about rates that are 0.5% higher today than they were 3 weeks ago. And this is all just because of what's happening with inflation. We get bad numbers on these reports, and it drives down consumer confidence, and you see treasury bonds, 10-year treasury bonds going up and mortgage-backed securities going down. I truly feel like next month we might have a good month there, but who knows what's gonna happen from there. But to your point, 100%, if you're getting pre-qualified to purchase a home, we have to, and we're trying to push things to the max, we have to pay attention to the interest rates along the way. We have to pay attention to the type of home you're getting into, what's your HOA, what's your taxes, all things like that. Yes.
Ryan, I played and I know you did, but I played a lot of baseball in my life, played collegiate, a little bit of single A, and one of the phrases that we were always told was always, no matter what, keep your damn eye on the ball. Mm-hmm. Right? You follow the ball into your mitt. You follow the ball into the bat. I feel like that, and it's great advice for so many areas of life. And I think a lot of us apply it to interest rates. We're told keep our eye on the ball, and so our eyes are focused solely on interest rates. And your message, how you would have a conversation, even if it's a first or second time home buyer or an investor, yeah, interest rates aren't great. They might be ticking up. Your borrowing power may drop. And a lot of people get paralyzed by that. And that's the only thing that the real estate professionals talking with them about. Your perspective and your approach and how how you see things, not always clean. Sometimes the things that you see is, a little,
Yeah.
off. But anyways.
But the reality is that housing is always one of those things that's a necessity. It's not like a cell phone. Hell, it's not even like gas, right? Because if gas prices go up too much or cost of vehicles go up too much, you will take the bus.
I want to stop you right there, dude.
Hold
on, let me stop you. It's
that?
one of the greatest analogies because, yes, gas is skyrocketing again. But you know what? People got to get to work. And you know what they do? They put gas in their tank no matter where it's at. Same thing with a house. You got to freaking live somewhere.
Right. So, what I'm saying is that gas isn't even nearly as much of a necessity as housing. Like, realistically, like, I've seen plenty of people say, you know what? I'm going to take an Uber or I'm going to jump on a bus or whatever because they just plumb couldn't afford it or they just didn't need the extra amenity.
Or we're not sober.
Right. Well, or we want to go have a couple of cocktails, right? But the moral of the story is that housing is always going to survive in some capacity as far as volume, people actually transacting, whether it's on a purchase or a rental market, they still need a roof over their head. And so it's keeping your eye on the prize with that. So like keeping your eye on the ball, there's definitely good timing, bad timing. There's definitely good areas and bad areas. And then there's definitely times that you want to leverage, and then there's times that you want to have less leverage, depending on what you're trying to accomplish. So all of that being said, I had a conversation with a gentleman today, and we were talking about, okay, well, do I invest in real estate or do I put more into my pension? And because if I invest in real estate right now in this property, they would have had negative passive income, and that's with putting 25% down.
Sure.
Okay. So they wouldn't have mortgage insurance. They wouldn't have, they would have had a lower principal basis for their interest to be calculated off of, and they still would have been in the hole $200 a month. And then what they're not really taking into account is that the money that they've been putting into their 401k pension and all that stuff that they're doing through their work, while they were being matched up to a certain amount, I agree they should do that. But above and beyond that, was only earning about 5% a year. And we've had these numbers conversations about, what is your money doing for you when you're 100% invested versus, in this scenario, 25% invested into it. They were still going to come out way ahead by putting in an extra $200 a month into the home than they would have putting in money historically into their 401k/pension on a traditional sense. So I think that it's just a matter of, we've said it before, not being so short-sighted on these things, understanding that the numbers are going to come back into balance because investors are going to win the fight between real estate when it comes to owners versus renters, right? It's just the way that it's always been, and it's because the people that are investing their money are smart about it. They watch it, and they're generally better at making more of it. And so that's why they generally are going to beat the people that are renting properties. So keeping the eye on the ball, understand that interest rates they're definitely a factor, but more often than not, we've been seeing our investors really, really benefit from it. They've been able to get better deals. Their CPAs are a lot happier with them because it's a hell of a lot easier to to find more deductions and get them more money at the end of the year. And overall, they've been able to be a lot more financially free. So that's my thought.
Yeah, it's funny that Ryan says that, Justin. Is every time that you reach out, I've got to be one of your most favorite clients or agents because I'm just weird and twisted. But every time you call me and say, hey, bro, interest rates have gone up, I'm like, whew, that's really good news.
Yeah, thank God.
Because thank God, because there's just better opportunity out there for us.
Oh yeah. Both of you guys are like that.
All right. Well, the three of us would never tell you that money is the root of all happiness and money is the end all be all. But I would tell you this. If you look yourself in the mirror and say, yeah, I don't really care for money or I don't really like money, don't text us. You're not going to enjoy us. You're not going to enjoy our conversations. We are not the team for you. But if you do like money and you want to learn how to build wealth and adopt strategies that can help you build wealth through real estate, we would love to have that conversation with you. All you got to do is text the word supply to 623-AZ-RECON. That's supply to 623-AZ-RECON. All right, Ryan, it is Friday.
It's our favorite.
Where we going, baby?
I'm going to throw you guys a little curveball.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Favorite Vietnamese food?
Oh.
Well, okay, that's easy.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, really easy. My
Okay.
favorite, because I don't have Vietnamese food all the time. I do have a place across the street from my house. It's so-so. But my favorite Vietnamese food place that I go to is the one that you take me to when I say, let's go get Vietnamese food. I don't know the name of it, but dude, whenever Ryan's taking you somewhere to eat to a hole in the wall, you're in for a real treat.
Yeah.
I don't know the name.
You're not going to see a piece of paper with the letter A on it sitting in the front window. I can promise you that.
So that's all. But I don't know the name of it. But you know the name of it. That's my
Yeah,
favorite.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that was a good deflection you did there.
Yeah.
Justin,
I don't have one.
you don't?
I don't have one.
Oh my God.
You're gonna have to take me.
You guys are so uncultured.
That's terrible, huh?
Uncultured, I go with you.
That's funny because one time Mickey and I, my son, we were out swimming, and I yell at Christine, my wife, saying, "Hey, we need some towels out here. We're all done." And she said, "Well, you knew you were going swimming. Why didn't you plan for that?" And I said, "Honey, I did. I married you." All right, so
Ouch.
well, no,
That's what he's mean.
I planned
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I planned great. I married someone awesome. That wasn't a slam. Anyhow, all right. So it's called Pho Tan. It's over off of Camelback and like 17th Avenue. It's right there by the light rail. It is not a pretty looking place.
No, it's not.
But it has. I mean, everyone wants Vietnamese soup. That's like probably the most popular thing out there. But so that's amazing. Their spring rolls are amazing. It's bountiful, and so it's not like just gonna be a bunch of broth. You're gonna get a ton of whatever you ordered in it, but the broth that they have is very rich. It was homemade. And you know that the people in the kitchen knew what they were doing. And on top of that, it's super cheap. So that's my favorite Vietnamese food place. Now, if you're looking just for banh mi, which is the Vietnamese sandwiches, the one right over here off of Bell and like 23rd Avenue or 21st Avenue.
Yeah, you took
or
me there
something.
too.
Yeah. Oh, those are unbelievable.
Well,
So,
I can only say one thing to you.
what's that?
Fa you.
Fa me.
Fuck you.
All right, if you'd like some more information about investing in real estate or buying or selling strategies or interested in Vietnamese food, all you got to do is text the word, what did I say? Supply.
Supply, yeah.
Yeah, supply to 623-AZ-RECON. That's supply to 623-AZ-RECON.